Yeah, I went to the Chamber of Commerce where they had the CEO president of ICBC. I don't like being in those places, the way people dress and act and talk to each other. You can tell they're in roles, in jobs where they get paid to do the bare minimum but still feel good about themselves. I mean, the lady in charge that was announcing people, I mean, her English is not great. Like, she's got to like make full sentences, and if nobody kind of points that out, she might host more and more meetings but still have compromised English. And what are the standards? So for me, I don't feel like I identify with a lot of the people there. And I did tell Jason at the end, the CEO, I said, the complaints I want to give to ACBC that they don't want to take have accumulated to the point I don't trust them, and I changed my bank account and they don't have access. Like, just if I was in his role and I heard this, I would ask for the person's coordinates and promise, yes, in front of somebody, I want to talk to you again at a different time about this, and so please prepare an explanation in 5-10 minutes and I'll see what I can do, right? But like, if it's not just about feel good and regurgitating the message. I asked the guy from Chamber of Commerce, I said it sounded like when you were asking questions, like it was him asking himself questions, like it seemed like he prepared things just to point out the positives again of their image at ICBC. But it's not measurable, right? Their progress is not measurable. He showed a chart, and the chart is that they made a big change in how things are done, and it really reduced legal costs, for example. But I mean, can you imagine though if they gave themselves less high bonuses, the cost of insurance would be even lower. But the thing is when I asked questions about the human factor of road safety, really it was vague. Nobody really wanted to answer. I did get the card of Tracy, who somebody said wasn't there, but then he said she was there, and who she was. So I talked to her, Tracy Offman from Prince George. I said, well, I'll email you today. And I said, at some point I said, please don't waste my time. Like, I'm serious about cultural repair province-wide, right? And I've got a lot of data and recommendations and specialties that can help. But again, you're working with people with jobs who are happy with what they do, which is not enough. And they mingle with people that are the same. So do you really think that they want to work with a polymath who is transparent and considers others as much as himself? I might be bringing some of my own examples and cases, but it's cultural repair. It's systemic issues. I'll follow up, but again, I won't. I don't even think it's worth following up with the insurance of my vehicle, because I talked to a guy who's kind of mostly wanting to ignore me, who worked at the place of insurance that I wasn't happy before, and he doesn't really want to give his impression at all about what it was like to work there. He's just happy, and he's, he raised in position. He's in charge of a team now at the credit union insurance. And so, like, nobody wants to disturb the status quo unless it has an impact on them, like the mayor and councilmen who are getting older and they worry about their driver's license. And again, when I talk to them, they should be able to pick up my expertise and professionalism. And if they do, they still don't want to kind of take it into consideration to actually do more. So, I don't feel good about the fakeness of the people in these meetings. Or I didn't know there'd be breakfast. Thanks for the breakfast. It was, it wasn't super high quality, but it's still nice to have free food. And it was actually ICBC that approached the Chamber of Commerce, not them that invited. They said, "Can you host this?" So it promotes them as well, and people are starting to recognize me. I did meet somebody there that I am going to want to have a follow-up meeting with to see if I would want to get into her profession, because I think she would be able to mentor me. And because it's a rare profession and they only need one, for example, marriage counselor, that's not it, but it's nice that I wouldn't be under somebody and I would set the pace of my standards, right? Working alongside, RCMP and other things like that. And, but again, I told the guy from the Chamber of Commerce on the way out, who seems very sensitive. He kind of kept thinking I was interrupting him when really I'm trying to save us both time with his long answers. I want to get more productive in the conversation. And so, I told him, I said, Prince Rupert is likely going to lose me. I said, how did you end up in Prince Rupert? I said, a scam, right? And I did a human rights complaint for this scam, which includes Indigenous community members and the college and BCGU and the province, laundering money for things that don't get done, that don't benefit members. And I told him, I said, a pattern in the responses you give me for every topic we talked about is money. And the capitalism is always in there preventing community mindedness or human rights. There's always who's going to pay, who's going to make a profit to help people, access services. It's not about people accessing services of quality. It's who's going to make a profit doing it. And I did tell him about, parking. People shouldn't park in front of their businesses. They should park far away so that more people shop in town. And he says they're looking into that now. Finally, I don't know why it's taking that long. Is it because I've written it many times online and finally they're saying it? Riding my bike in the rain, some of them are dressed in suits. I'm pretty much wet, but it's important. It's important that I am who I am among these adult children with suits, right? Who just feel good about themselves by maintaining standards that for me are developmental disabilities, right? But nobody challenges them on that. Nobody says, I think you can do better than that. Hey, I think you're more creative. Hey, I think you're actually in charge, and you are, so you could make these things happen, although none of your predecessors ever did, right? But if they do even less than their predecessors, yes, we're taking more steps backwards than forwards. And of course, the local newspaper is all business, and it's all about, oh yeah, this is growing, which will benefit everyone when it never does. And there's more steps backwards they never talk about as the business world takes some steps forward. But communities? No.